back to Dolphins United, the platform for Dolphins. You heard me. We are back with the series Keep, Cut, or just let them walk away in the free agency. We're talking about our players, all right? I'm not talking about anybody else players yet, players that might have got cut that we got our eye on, nothing like that. We're talking about our own players that are either going into free agency or players I just feel like we need to move on from, create cap for by releasing and trying to find something better in free agency. Okay, so we're talking about our players first, and then of course next week it'll be all free agency, big moves, things like that. If I'm at work and a big move happens like it did last year with Tyreek Hill, I will come over the phone, do the video, drop it, and then make an extended video when I get home. But so we know that next week is going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. But before we get there, I'll give you a list of the players I'm looking at, players I feel like will fit our needs and, make us a Super Bowl contender, which is what we want to be. All right. Before I go any further, let me just say this real quick. All right. We're going to be talking today about defensive linemen. Okay. That's defensive tackles, defensive ends. When it comes, I'm reluctant to really talk about this whole Tua, Lamar, Brady, Aaron Rodgers ordeal, because I just like to go by what the leadership says on the team. And at the end of the year, they made it clear Tua is the starting quarterback for 2023. And when you say something like that, I'm stamping it, I'm booking it. I don't need to go check other news. Whatever else comes out, I don't care because that's what they said. Now, if they happen to lie about what they said, then I'm going to hold their feet to the fire. You should have never said that. You should have been vague, right? If they were vague, then I would take more of what is being spewed out there as possibilities. But they weren't being vague. They were being absolute. They said Tua will be the starting quarterback for 2023. None of this other stuff that's going on is stuff I'm going to be worried about then. It's a bunch of baloney to me. I don't care about it. If it happens once again, I'll hold their feet to the fire and say, you lied to us. We can't trust y'all, blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, we have Lamar Jackson, right? Like, yes, would I be excited about that? Of course I would. It's Lamar Jackson. It's the fastest quarterback in the league at the moment, maybe tied with Kyler Murray. I don't know. Neither one of them ran a 40. So who's to say, right? On tape, they both look fast. All right, so it is what it is. I don't think they're Mike Vick fast. I don't think they're 4.29 fast, but they're fast. Either way you want to look at it, I'd be happy with him. He's not Mike Vick. He's not a liability in the pass game. That's not Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can actually pass the ball, okay? He was a league MVP for a reason. It wasn't because he was running the football. As you see, Hurts didn't get the MVP from running the football. It was because he was passing that bad boy. All right, he can legit pass the ball. Is he a better passer than Tua? Absolutely not. All right, and that's one thing I just want to go ahead and say now. What we saw from Tua this year, Lamar Jackson, in his best year, ain't able to pass on Tua's level. And I'm just being real with y'all. I'm not talking about deep ball strength and arm strength and stuff like that. I'm talking about the ability to layer the football, put touch, accuracy, stuff like that. Tua is a better pure passer, was a better pure passer coming out of college than Lamar Jackson ever has been. That's the truth. All right? Who's the better player? Lamar Jackson. He's the better overall quarterback. But if we're talking about pure passing quarterbacks, let's stop the nonsense. Tua is the better pure passer. But that's all Tua got. Lamar can do a bunch of other stuff that Tua can't do. Okay? Stop the nonsense. If we're talking about accuracy and touch and layering the football and not decision making, but anticipation and nuance, that's Tua. Footwork, all that, that's Tua. All right? What Lamar got is a gun and some legs. Doesn't mean he can't pass the ball, but he's not Tua when it comes to passing the football. Let's stop. Is he a better player than Tua? Yes. Okay? He is. But it's because he can do everything else. Let's knock it off. Either way, I had to just get that off my chest, all right, as you can see. Either way, we ain't getting him, okay? As far as I'm concerned, we're sticking with Tua because that's what they told us that they're doing, all right? And as far as we're going to be looking at all of our options, yes, they're going to be looking at all of their options for a backup quarterback, not a starting quarterback. I'm not sure why we are having a hard time comprehending easy English. The man was asked a question about Teddy Bridgewater. He answered saying Skyler will have a chance to compete and that they will be looking at all of their options at quarterback to make the room better. And they said that they don't necessarily need Teddy Bridgewater back on the team because Tua and the offense are at a different point in their careers. That tells you that they don't necessarily need a veteran like Teddy Bridgewater to help Tua because they're at different points in their careers now. Tua is, and the offense is. So they're telling you that they're going to go get competition for Skyler because they already told you Tua is the quarterback for 2023. It's easy, all right? It's easy. Now, after next year, if Tua wets the bed, let's talk about whatever quarterback. Trust me, it ain't going to be too late. There's going to be good quarterbacks coming out of the draft. There's going to be good quarterbacks available via trade or something. Happens every year at this point. So expect it again, and then we'll just make moves at that point. Somebody will be available. All right? Now, let's get into, because, man, I'm telling you, it's just a bunch of nonsense that's going on out there, and people are just spewing trash and whatever, all right? Our fan base is one for the books, I'll be honest with you. All right, let's get into the defensive linemen. Why don't we? All right? Now, here's where it gets a little interesting because I have yet to say that there are guys that are up for or need contract extensions. But we might have a few guys, hint, hint, wink, wink, here in this group, defensive end group, that may need that. So I'm going to be banging the table for them to pay the man, all right? Zach Sealer, pay the man. I don't know what he got. I can't remember what his recent contract was. But if y'all don't pay that man some doggone more money, free up some cap, possibly, and you need to tie him up for 3-4 years. Please do your due diligence. Give him a pay raise. He deserves it. He is a beast. We need him. Pay the man. He ain't going nowhere. All right? He's not a free agent, by the way. I'm just saying he needs to get paid. Emmanuel Ogbah. From my understanding, they can't move on from him because he doesn't help against the cap. That sucks. If you could trade him, I say you try and trade him away. If you can't, hey, you're always going to need defensive linemen, right? But he's one of the ones I would be looking to move on from, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to do so. So it's a keep unless we can find a trade partner that's willing to take on that salary. Not likely. Trey Flowers, free agent, deuces. You get the cheetah deuces out of there. We don't need to see no more. When he came in, he wasn't impactful and he got injured. And then he came back and got injured again. Deuces. All right. Now, some people be like, well, I mean, sounds like Tua. He ain't Tua. Deuces. All right. Deuces. Raekwon Davis. Obviously, he's on the team. We need to see more from him. But that's not what we're talking about right now. John Jenkins is a free agent. We need bodies. I'd bring him in, 1-year deal minimum. You know, just we need guys, right, on the roster through camp. John Jenkins can plug up a hole. He's a big body, nose tackle type guy. Bring him in. Bring him in. Let's see what Vic Fangio can do with him. You never know, right? Andrew Van Ginkel. Put the phone down for this one. Andrew Van Ginkel is a free agent, guys. Some of y'all might not have known. I'm telling you now. Andrew Van Ginkel is a free agent. I'm signing him back onto the team. All right, now, we're going to go ahead and knock out linebackers with this group because they're 3-4 linemen, so we'll just put them together, all right? So it's just not that many to go through, so we might as well lump them together in this grouping. We'll go ahead and do linebackers as well because you got Jalen Phillips and you have Chubb on the outside, and then you got Van Ginkel, who is going to be a free agent that we got to figure out what we want to do with him. All right, so if you hear me talking about linebackers, that's why, because they're technically defensive ends in this scheme outside of the middle linebackers, all right, because it's a 3-4 scheme. Van Ginkel has value on special teams. He has value on the defense, spelling guys, but he's a little inconsistent. He doesn't make a lot of plays, but the plays he makes flash, right? He'll block a kick, a punt, or he'll be on the receiving end of a blocked punt and take it in for a touchdown. He'll be around the football when there's a strip sack, or he'll cause a strip sack that goes for a touchdown. Splash plays. He makes those from time to time. And he's around the football from time to time to flash on screen. But he's not consistent. We don't get consistent pressure. He's not consistent in stopping the run. He's just not consistent a player. What do you do with a guy like him? He's a homegrown talent. He's lived up to his draft pick status. Like, I think he was like a 4th, 5th round pick or something like that. He's lived up to that. Like, he's a serviceable backup / starting type outside linebacker in a certain scheme. How much do you pay a guy like that? You know, I don't even know what his market would end up being. This one is tough. Do we let him walk? Matter of fact, I'm not answering. Andrew Van Ginkel. This is the question for DU fam and all of those that will be watching this video. When it comes to Andrew Van Ginkel, would you rather let him walk in the free agency or keep him? Let me know. Walk in free agency or you want to keep Van Ginkel? I will gauge by you guys how valuable you feel he is to our squad and then make an assessment because I am torn between the two myself. All right, now if you're all torn as I am, then we know that, okay, like this one is a tough decision. This is probably the toughest decision of them all because he has some value. It's just he's inconsistent. So you try to go get a better guy or do you keep him? Like, I'm torn. So let me know in the comment section, please, would you rather keep Van Ginkel or would you rather just let him walk in the free agency and see what he can get? All right. Moving on. Landon Roberts, he's a free agent as well. Deuces. I'm moving on. Now, I know some people like him, and he's a leader, and he's inconsistent as heck. And he's slow. I don't need him. I don't want him. Look, I've been done with Landon Roberts for 2 years. He need to go. There's a good bit of good inside linebackers that are about to be available. We better doggone get one or two of them and draft one. We have to do that, okay? Because I'm done with what we've had at linebacker. That kind of leads you to understand where I'm going next, okay? Jerome Baker, I'm cutting him. I'm moving on. Whatever is owed left to him in guaranteed money, give him his money. Try to trade him. And if you can't find a trade partner, deuces, I'll holler at you. Yes, I know some people are going to be like, what? Jerome Baker? Yes. You watched Jerome Baker's tape last year? He wasn't that good. All right? From time to time, he'll make a play. He couldn't cover. He couldn't stop the run. He could only blitz, and they didn't blitz him as much this year for whatever reason. I don't know why, because that's his best trait is coming at the quarterback. Everything else, he was an inside linebacker. Think about that. Everything else was not good. Deuces, I'm moving on. This is probably one of the biggest blockbuster type cuts for the Dolphins, where like people will be like, whoa, but I don't care. He needs to move on. And like I said, we signed one or two of the other guys. That leaves you room to do so if you move on from Jerome Baker. I know it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I don't care because I'm done. I'm fed up. We need to see some change in that department. Sam McGuavin, free agent, deuces. I'm moving on. Once again, I've had a big problem with inside linebackers, and to an extent, he's played on the edge a little bit. Coming at he hasn't been good at quarterback. He ain't been good at all, at either, except for in preseason. He's a preseason Hall of Famer. Regular season, he don't show up. So I'm moving on from him. Let him go be a preseason Hall of Famer on somebody else's doggone team. I don't care who team it is. And if he turns out to be something, good for him. He was with us for 4 years. He ain't turned out to be nothing with us. So it is what it is. Maybe we just can't coach it right. I don't know. Right? Moving on. I know we need bodies. We better find some doggone bodies in free agency and in the draft, because I am fed up and done with what we've seen. The abysmal play we've had from the inside linebacker room. It has been atrocious. We need it fixed. We need new bodies in there. That's the only way it gets fixed. I don't trust that they'll be able to do anything under Vic Fangio either. I'm done. Moving on. Duke Riley, free agent. I'm keeping him. I want him back. He's the only guy that flashed. He's the only guy that can consistently cover running backs coming out of the backfield. He gives you something, right? In the run game, he leaves something to be desired, but we're hoping to get a marquee name, hopefully, prayerfully, in free agency to take care of all that, so he won't have to worry about that. He can just do what he does, which is be a good special teams guy, core special teams guy, and be a pass coverage specialist as a linebacker. I'm cool with that. And further develop his game and maybe be an all-around linebacker, a three-down linebacker. I would love to see that. But right now he's a third-down linebacker. So, hey, it is what it is. We got him for a while. I just hope that we'll get better play out of him, okay? Then you got Melvin Ingram, who is also a free agent. Melvin Ingram has done some really good things for the Dolphins this past year. Like, it's been really good for us. I'm bringing him back for a one-year deal. He's the type of guy that is just a consistent pass rushing type guy. On third down, he's going to create pressure. He's really good against the run. He's a guy that Vic Fangio could use. Bring him back 1 year, let him compete, and if he doesn't make the squad, he doesn't make it. But you give yourself a chance. You give yourself that depth that you had last year back. You get that back. He can be on the inside, and he can be on the outside, and he can drop into coverage and tip a pass up in the air or something, right? Like, he's not going to guard nobody out of the backfield or nothing like that, but he can get into space and move a little bit. I'm bringing him back. 1 year deal. He's 33 or something like that. 1 year deal. And then we see what happens with him. That's all. All right. There's a good bit of free agents coming up. There's one I missed, actually. Justin Zimmer. Not too familiar with him. This is a guy that we picked up last year. Bring him back, I guess. 1 year deal once again. Vet minimum. Bring him back. Let's see what he has. He's a defensive tackle. Let's just see what he has. Let's find out in camp, and then we'll move on from there. All right? If you have some opposing views of the players I would like to cut, because there were a good amount of them, or the players I would like to keep, or the players that I say just let walk, hey, holla at your boy in the comments. Let's talk about it. All right? Maybe you could sway me. Maybe I could sway you. I'll holla at y'all in the next one. We will be going over the doggone quarterback situation, backup quarterback situation, and the punter, because we don't have one at the moment. See y'all later. Fins up.